Kaha mora swarup rupa, kaha sanatan. Kaha dasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan. Kaha dasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan. Kaha mora bhata juga, kaha kavira. Eka kale khota gela Gaura Nataraj. Eka kale khota gela Gaura Nataraj. Ashane kutibo mata anale pasibo. Gauranga gunera nidhi kotha gele pavo. Gauranga gunera nidhi kotha gele pavo. Saba sangira sange je koilo bhilash. Se sabha sangira sange je koilo bhilash. Se sangana paya kande Narottama das. Se sangana paya kande Narottama das. Jai Shri Narottama Das Thakur Tirabha Mahotsaha ki Jai Shri Narottama Das Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Abhaya Charanaravindra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Please shut that bottle. Otherwise it's dead. That's dead water. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Shrotra Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavind Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavind Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Shyamakanda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Taking over the world with Srila Prabhupada's transcendental book distribution Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya. Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminati Namane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, text number 15. And the chapter is titled Questions by Parikshit. Okay. Bhupatalam Kakub Vyomam Graha Nakshatra Bhubritam Sarit Samudram Dvipanam Sambhavaham Cha Etat Okasam Bhupatalaka Bhubhyomam Graha Nakshatra Bhubhritam Sarit Samudra Dvipanam Sambhavaschaitadokshanam Bhupatalaka Vyomam Graha Nakshatra Bhubhritam Sarit Samudra Dvipanam Sambhavaschaitadokshanam. Please repeat. Bhupatalaka Kubhyoma Nakshatra Bhubritam Sarit Samudra Dvipanam. Mataji's, please. Bhupatalaka Kubhyoma Graha Nakshatra Bhubritam Sarit Samudra Dvipanam Samavaschaitadokasam Bhupatalaka Kubhyoma Graha Nakshatra Bhubritam Sarit Samudra Dvipanam Samavaschaitadokasam. Okay. Bhupatalam. Underneath the land. Kakub, the four sides. Four sides of the heavens. Vyomam, the sky. Graham, the planets. Nakshatra, the stars. Bhubritam, of the hills. Sarit, the river. Samudram, the sea. Dvipanam, of the islands. Sambhavaha, appearance. Cha, also. Etat, there. O Kasam, of the inhabitants. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Of, O Brahmanas, O best of the Brahmanas, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as their different kinds of inhabitants, takes place. Purport. The inhabitants of different varieties of land, etc., are differently situated, and not all of them are equal in all respects. The inhabitants of the land are different from the inhabitants of the water or the sky. And similarly, the inhabitants of the different planets and stars in the sky are also different from one another. By the laws of the Lord, no place is vacant, but the creatures of one particular place are different from those of other places. Even in human society, the inhabitants of the jungles or the deserts are different from those in the cities and villages. They are so made according to different qualities or modes of nature. Such adjustment by the laws of nature is not blind. There's a great plan behind this arrangement. Maharaj Parikshit requests the great sage Shukadev Goswami to explain all these authoritatively in accordance with proper understanding. Om Agyanati Miranthasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utafpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishravamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vashakan Vatamsha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishamebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminati Namine Vrajajana Rasa Vedi Prachita Shri Jaya Shri Sahaparikara Gaurang Rankita Swanta Bhumihi Bhuvana Vidita Tirtha Stoma Kirtair Vitayi Bhuvi Jayate Vikaso Bhakti Purvo Yatindraha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Teshatarine Vagisha Yasya Vadane Lakshmir Yasya Chivakshisi Yasyaste Hridaye Samvit Tam Risimham Aham Bhaje. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Yasya Deve Para Bhaktir Yata Deve Tata Guru Dasyaite Katita Hyarta Prakashante Mahatmanaha Bhupatala Kapuvyama Graha Nakshatra Bhupratam Sarit Samudra Dvipanam Sambhava Shaitad Okasam. O best of the Brahmanas, please also describe how the creation of the globe throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as the different kinds of inhabitants takes place. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Purushav Prakritisto hi bhungter prakriti jan gunan karanam gunasangasya sadasad yoni janmashu. That in this material world, there's a living entities always fighting with each, to take on the position of the enjoyer. And sometimes they try to enjoy, in this way, that way, and all these other different ways. But ultimately, they're suffering, and they Purusha of Prakriti Stohi, they come together, and then they get different kinds of, take births in different kinds of wombs. Sadasa Yoni. He takes birth in sometimes what may appear to be a good womb and sometimes what may appear to be a bad womb. And there are such things as good wombs and bad wombs. For example, taking birth in the, I don't know if snakes have wombs, right? That's called a womb. Whatever inside the egg. Yeah. Taking birth, from an egg which is born outside of a snake is an impious birth. It's a bad birth. It's a asad yoni. You're taking, you're the son of a snake, and it's an asad yoni. It's a bad birth. And then, if you're taking birth from a cow, that's a sad yoni. That's good. If taking birth from a human being, that's a sad yoni, generally speaking. And even amongst that, there's always different permutations and combinations of the modes of material nature. The modes of material nature are there, and they're always fighting with each other to gain dominance. And we can see some species of life, and dare I say it, some species of human beings are also in the different modes of material nature. It's just what it is. For example, Prabhupada is in one place in the purport. There's some tribal places in Africa, and there's there's these local tribes, and they have their good time, and then they invite everyone for the feast, and then like the oldest person of their family is, and they ask, wow, what are you eating for the feast today? And the younger people say, we're eating you, and they kill that person and eat him. So to be born in such a condition is sinful. To be born in a desert is sinful. To be born in a place where there is rampant cow slaughter, where there's rampant sense gratification, where lust, anger, and greed are promoted, are all sinful. So similarly, we can see this also, even within our own society, we can see that there's different kinds of people who just have a completely different kind of guna and karma. And myself, coming to America from India, I thought that all black people look like and would be like the NBA players that I was seeing on TV, But then when I came, I don't see so many people who are like so tall. It's like a different kind of guna and karma. I thought, actually they're all not that tall. There's some people shorter. I thought like almost everyone will be taller than me, but that was just like the conception. I was young. I was really young. I was like, whatever. But I thought that'll be the case, that they'll all be taller than me or something, But not everyone is like that. There was a different kind of guna and karma that was there. And then we can see that even amongst like a particular community, like those people who play certain sports, they have like their own friend circle. They have like their own class of money that they earn, their own social society. They have all their friends are also like their same height somehow. Like not all of them, but like most of the people they hang out with are the same height, same bodily physique. That guna and karma got them all together to perform some kind of activity. And that's it. And then like there's different kinds of guna and karma, and that it just, no matter where we go, we cannot escape the different permutations of the modes of material nature. We cannot escape the different modes of passion, ignorance, and goodness, different combinations of this. We cannot escape it. Wherever we go in the material world, this difference is there. And that was really a striking thing for me. I thought everyone's going to, but it's not. It's so different, And I can tell, distributing books up in the north, that we have a different experience with like certain races in the north and different experience with certain places in the south, in Atlanta. We see that there's like a certain difference. Like in Atlanta, like some of our best customers are the black people, but in New York, that was not the case. It was just like Spanish, Latino, it was like, because they're different. Even in the same country, it is so different. Even in America, when you go from the north to the south, you feel like you entered a different country altogether. Why? Because there are different modes of nature. The different modes of nature. And we cannot escape it, And by the laws of the Lord, no place is vacant. And if we can see there's so much variety right here, then so how much variety will there be in the water? How much variety is there? How much variety will there be on other planets, other planetary systems? We cannot even conceive of it, actually. We cannot even conceive of it. We can say tiger, but even tigers are different. We can say snakes, but even snakes are different. Some snakes are like venomous and dangerous. Some snakes are not. Like you used to play with snakes, right? In your home, like you would save them all the time, and he would like let them bite him, and he would have fun. You would say, right? You were saying that, and like it left like a small mark, right? Oh, okay. He would get bit. I thought you would just play with them, and they would bite you, and you would find it cute or something. But those snakes are not. But for someone who has no knowledge of snakes, I would just think that, whoa, what the heck? All snakes are really like creepy and dangerous or something, but not all snakes are like that, There's different kinds of snakes also. You can see there's different, kinds of dogs, there's like this dogs which are like halwa, that we see, that small dog running around Prabhupada village. And then there's like big dogs too, which are like, like super huge dogs. So the point I'm making is that there's so many and there's, every place is full of this variety in the material world, every place. And we can understand there's 8.4 million species of life. And out of these 8.4 million species of life, only 400,000 of them are human beings. There's other 8 million species. And so many, and we don't have experience of all these things. I remember reading one conversation of Srila Prabhupada where the scientists were saying there's 2 million species of life. And Prabhupada says, no, 8.4 million species. He said, just on the basis of Shastra, he's able to say. He's able to see, because he's seeing the world. The scientists, they don't know all the research. They cannot conceive of all the things which are described in Shastra, because they do not have the instruments to see. They may try to see via their telescope, microscope, and I don't know what else they have these days, but they may try to see all these things. But to see some species of life, one thing which is needed is purification of consciousness. You need purification of consciousness. Without having the purification of consciousness, you cannot see it. You cannot interact with with other living entities. You cannot interact with them. And there's some living entities which when you see when you have really good karma, and there's some living entities that you see when you have really bad karma. Like when you have terminal sickness, then what happens? When this is like this common, I think it's called terminal sickness, right? Or there's some word for this. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact word, but when they're on the deathbed in the hospital 2 or 3 weeks before people die, they start like freaking out and seeing all these different beings, and they start to see like fire, and they start to see all these things. It's a common phenomenon which happens like in every hospital. Every nurse knows about it. And they're seeing the Yamadutas. When someone lives a really sinful life, the Yamadutas come and start to torture them a few weeks before they leave their body. A few weeks before they leave, then like the Yamadutas maybe they get some kind of kick out of it or something. But they come and they start to torture. They start to torture the living entities, telling them, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that to you, we're going to do this. And then, it's like what's a really like scary like breed of a dog that we know of? Rottweilers, right? They're scary, right? The scary dogs, and they're like aggressive and like that. But then the Rottweilers look like little ants compared to the dogs of the Yamadutas. Rurus. Yamadutas have dogs called the Rurus. And can you imagine you're on your deathbed and like a huge hellhound is coming and sniffing you, and and you can experience the torture. The suffering first starts in the mind, and then it's actually going to happen. And the Yamadutas, you're able to see them because you have really bad karma. You're able to see them. And then and when you have really good karma, then you can, even if you're not a pure devotee, even if you're just on the karmic level, high karmic level, then you can become a demigod. You can see all the demigods. You can do all these things. So depending upon the realm of guna and karma that we have different kinds of perception of reality, depending upon the guna and karma that we have. And and a same person, he may look at like one object differently because of the guna and karma. If you have the guna and karma of being a doctor, when you look at a knife, you think, oh wow, this knife is used for operation or whatever, But then if you look at if you're a killer, you look at the knife and think, wow, I can kill a lot of people with this knife. Same thing, same object, you're looking at it differently because of different consciousness, because of your different guna and karma. That's all. And for some people, they're attached to different things. When you see when some devotees come into Krishna consciousness, depending upon the guna and karma of the devotee before they came into Krishna consciousness, of course, they're attached to different things. Some people may be really attached to their car, or some people may be really attached to their family, or whatever. They may be attached to so many different things. But and then some, I know one devotee, his main attachment in his life, which he was finding it very hard to give up. Anyone wants to guess what it was? Huh? Dog, that's common. It's a little uncommon. One more? Anyone? Huh? No. Not a pet, okay. Not an uncommon pet. Yes, devotees are attached to dogs, and devotees are attached to cats, and may not or unfortunately maybe even are, but at least before they came, they had all these attachments they had to give up. Some may have to give up being with their family, so many things. But this devotee, the main attachment he had was a gun. because he was a gangster or something like that. He was part of like some really dangerous like Spanish gang before he joined, and his main attachment was his gun. And he was really thinking like, should I give this gun up? Because like your gun is your protection. You're born and brought up in a guna and karma where you have like, where this is your life. Your gun gives you protection. And like he was really thinking, I want to join the devotees, but should I really give up this gun? But he had that attachment because of his guna and karma. And other devotees have other attachments because of their guna and karma. So we cannot escape this kind of acts or the permutation and combinations of the modes of material nature. We cannot escape it. That is just how the world is designed. That is the design of this world. And Krishna designed it in a particular way to fulfill the rotten, sinful desires of the living entities. The living entities have so many desires. The living entities have so many desires. And Krishna wants to fulfill them all. Krishna wants to fulfill them all. Or Krishna doesn't want to fulfill them all. He wants to give the facility. The living entities can choose whether they want to fulfill them or not. And when they choose to do so, then what choice? Then Krishna being, Krishna just facilitates. You want to do it, you do it. You can't do it on your own. Therefore, like, I'll help you do everything that you want to do. But when you're done, let me know. And you can turn to me. But we see this, that in different planets, different, and you can even see that, in some parts or some countries, people are really short, like pygmies, they're like really short people. Pygmies, that's like a whole thing. Then there's like, and they have like their own way of functioning, but then in some places people are like really tall. It's just, we just cannot work around the guna and karma. Some people, in some countries you go, the color of the skin is like very white. Some places you go, the color of the skin is very black. Some places you go, the color of the skin is in a particular way. The color of the hair is in a particular way. The color of the eyeballs in a particular way. It's all different things. And every place is different. Every place is different. And all these things are described as in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The planets, how they are, this, that. So many details are all described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada is writing here, even in human society, the inhabitants of the jungles or the deserts are different from those of the cities and villages. And then for an outsider, they may not be able to like see a difference, but you can even see that in some communities, that the city slickers, right? The people who live in a city, they are not appreciated so much. Oh, you're not from the country, you're from the city, and the way you are and all that, we don't like. And then someone from the city may think, oh, these what they call them the farmers, or as was something bad or something. They don't like this, they don't like this. So as long as there's this different places, different desires, then there'll be different guna and karma. And there's something called collective guna and karma, and there's individual guna and karma also. And and we can say this, that in general, some people may like to have food which is spicier than what other people may like. Some races altogether, they may like it like that. We cannot, it's just a different combination. It's just a different combination of the material nature. So we understand this, such, and Prabhupada writes, such adjustment by the laws of nature is not blind. It's not that it's just happening randomly. It's not that you build a prison house and you build a prison house for like all the good citizens to live. No. You build a prison house for people with certain kind of guna and karma to go and live there. That's why the prison house is built. It's not blind. You build a sports stadium so people with a certain kind of guna and karma can go and utilize the sports stadium. That's why you have it. I don't remember where we were with who. I was with Nally, I think. I think we were distributing books in Louisville, right? In Louisville, Kentucky, in a university. And then, there's some place for studying, but then every place, they have huge football stadium and huge basketball stadiums, and they had huge some other sports stadiums, Why all this? Why? Because they are attracting people of that certain guna and karma to come. So everything in this world actually acts upon guna and karma. And anyone can understand it when they scientifically accept this point that reincarnation is a fact. Otherwise, none of this makes sense. Why is it that, that some people are born in a particular way and they are given certain facilities while others are not? From a theistic point of view, if one were to analyze this, they would if they do not understand the principle of karma, the law of nature, if they do not understand that reincarnation is a fact, then anyone who has even a little intelligence will not have any faith in God and become an atheist. If they think about it, even a little bit, just a little bit. If you think about it just a little bit, if God is all benevolent and all loving, then why did He make this baby be born without like a one arm and one leg and like crazy? And then like another baby is born with all the riches. I think it's called like was golden spoon in his mouth or something, silver spoon in his mouth. Why? Why is it like that? Why? Because of guna and karma. Or God hates that person. God hates the person who is born all deformed, and God loves the person who He gave him all facilities. And then it goes into this realm where you start to think that God only loves the people who are prosperous. And then we think of God as an order supplier. You want to stand up, Tyrese? No, you don't want to stand up. Okay. So, we see that then we think of God as someone who just, if you have the favor of God, then everything is going good in your family life. Everything is good. Everything, you're wealthy, you're rich, you have all the things that you need and all the prosperity, everything. But then if God doesn't like you, then you're poor. So in order for a janitor to get the favor of God, he has to become really rich. And that's when you can get the favor of God. Otherwise, he can't get the favor of God. And then one person was telling us some time ago that, they really wanted to go to a church, because when they go to the church, the pastor would tell them that, you see, this person is from such and such a community and he's gotten such and such a degree, let's just say an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. I want to go to this place. So all of them will say, just see how he's got the favor of God. Because he became a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or whatever. It's nonsense, though. Why? Because they do not accept the principle of reincarnation. They do not accept the principle of karma. They do not accept that reincarnation is a fact. If they don't understand this point, then what is the use? What is the use? Then this is what it becomes to. And then if you receive more money somewhere else, then you replace that with God. What need is there for God? If you're going to get more blessing by making the church into a nightclub, might as well do it. Might as well do it. So unless this principle of guna and karma is accepted, and this principle that such adjustment by the laws of nature is not blind is accepted, then the entire world will literally not make sense for anyone who wants to see it. One thing, they'll say everything happens randomly, but that also doesn't make sense. So if I want to randomly come and slap you, then why are you getting angry? What's the difficulty? Oh, it's all happening by chance. By chance I come and slap you. We're all just chemicals. If I took a hammer and I went and broke someone's car, then that's a crime. But if I took a hammer and broke someone's head, that's a bigger crime. Why is it, if both are chemicals, what's the problem? But no, it's not like some chemicals are better than others. Ultimately, all chemicals are chemicals. What's the problem? But these kinds of things don't make. And then, no, God decided for it to be. Then every time something bad is happening, so then if there's two countries fighting, when Germany and France were fighting, both of them were praying to God for their side to win. What is God supposed to do? Oh, wow, I'm going to make them both win. No. So one side wins, and then France became atheistic. God doesn't exist. That's all. Why? Because we lost the war. So with this kind of with poor theology, at best, with poor theology, then people will not understand how to actually look at it. Then all you'll be left with is gross material enjoyment. That's what we'll be left with. Gross material enjoyment. And gross material enjoyment is horrible. Nayam deha deha bhajamni loke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujamye. Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam yasmat shuddhyet brahma sokyam tvanantam. That, my dear sons, do not waste your valuable human form of life in sense gratification, which is available for hogs and dogs that eat stool. This human form of life is meant for divine austerity. Perform this divine austerity and attain the highest happiness, Rishabhdev says. So, this is what the human form of life is meant for, is to understand this point. But if we do not accept guna and karma, if we do not accept, because if we don't, I remember there was one irresponsible person that we knew very well, and he was, he had this habit of getting with women and, getting married to them, getting them pregnant and just somehow leaving them. And this person was a devotee. And he would do it, and when he was, Prabhu, like, you just did this to this woman, like, aren't you going to take care of the child? And, he was saying, well, it's not my problem that she has the baby. That was his attitude. That's what happens when you try to transcend, dharma and all these things and just go to bhakti. And of course, he's not part of our, he's not in part of the line that's coming from Srila Prabhupada. He's part of some other line, which a group of Sahajiyas, which is prominent these days, unfortunately. But we will crush them. But putting that aside, he was saying, it's not my problem. It's not my problem. Why is it not their problem? Because they've transcended dharma and they've gone to prema, is what they imagine. But if they can't even live like human beings, where is there a question of prema? Where is there a question of prema? No, I'm still feeling a lot of bliss when I chant my rounds after you do so many adharmic things. So if we don't understand this, if we do not understand this concept of dharma very seriously, then we will live like this. Then we will perform so many sinful activities and imagine ourselves to think, wow, I'm so elevated, I'm so amazing. That is not the case. So we see this here, that we should understand that adjustments by the laws of nature is not blind. We should understand this point. And then Prabhupada writes, there is a great plan behind this arrangement. Maharaj Parikshit requests the great sage Shukadeva Goswami to explain all these authoritatively. It's so amazing. Every word of Srila Prabhupada is so heavy actually here. He's saying, every syllable, so amazing these books are. There is a great plan behind this arrangement. Maharaj Parikshit requests, he's not commanding, he's requesting. In this itself, Tadvidi Pranipatina, you just see he's requesting the great sage Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami, his glories are unlimited. Tam vyasa sunam hridayam anatosmi. He can enter within the hearts of all living entities. This is how he is glorified. Shukadeva Goswami is glorified by Sutta Goswami. Tam vyasa sunam upayam guru manatosmi. Guru muni manatosmi. That he is able to, tam sarva bhuta hridayam muni manatosmi. Tam sarva, Hare Krishna, welcome. Tam sarva bhuta hridayam muni manatosmi. So we understand that Shukadeva Goswami, he is entering into, please you can sit. He's entering into he has the ability to enter into the hearts of all living entities. That's how powerful Shukadeva Goswami is. So there's a great plan behind it. He requests a great sage to explain all these things, how to explain all these things authoritatively. He is requesting that all these things are explained authoritatively, not just on the basis of speculation or anything, but on the basis of authority of what? On the basis of authority of scriptures. On the basis of the authority of scripture, on the basis of authority in accordance with proper understanding. We've heard this saying, it's even there in the Bible, I think, devil quoting scriptures, right? Devil quoting, that's a saying, right? And what does that mean? Devil. What do you say? Yeah. So it's not, and also like, he says, you quote it authoritatively in accordance with proper understanding, with proper siddhanta. So we can understand here that, here Srila Prabhupada is saying, there is a great plan behind the arrangement. And what is the great plan? What is the great plan? For all the living entities to go back home, back to Godhead. That is the great plan. Everything else which happens is secondary. The great plan is for the living entities to go back home, back to God. And more specifically, Jiva Goswami says that the great plan, the whole reason why the material world exists is for a sadhaka to perfect his sadhana and attain his sadhya. That is the whole reason why this material world exists. That for a person who is practicing Krishna consciousness to perfect his practice of Krishna consciousness and attain the goal of Krishna consciousness, which is the two lotus feet of Krishna. Radha Krishna Pranamur, Jugala Kishore, Jivane Marane Gati Ar Nahi More. Narottama Das Thakur sings. That this is the goal of life. This is the great plan behind this arrangement. And Shukadeva goes, and Jiva Goswami explains that just like if you're cooking on firewood, when you're cooking on firewood, the goal of cooking on firewood is to have your sabji ready or whatever, rice and dal to cook it, to cook a rice and dal, or whatever we're cooking, that may be the goal of having the firewood. But as a byproduct of cooking your rice and dal or your sabji or whatever, you get ashes, right? Because after the firewood is burnt, you get ashes. So similarly, the whole reason the material world exists is for a sadhaka to perfect his sadhana, to attain his sadhya. But on the side, all this guna and karma stuff goes on. But that's just like the ashes that's produced after you cook your sabji. You see? So that's the whole point. The great arrangement is this. And Krishna facilitates this kind of arrangement. Why? Because yes, the living entities may want to enjoy, but ultimately this arrangement is made for the living entities to go back home, back to Godhead. And and Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavatam, this Krishna consciousness movement is there. Actually, I can read the exact thing. I can read the exact quote. It's here, okay. This movement, this Krishna consciousness movement, is not very difficult to understand. And people must take advantage of it. For what? For it will save them from what? From the risky life of irresponsibility. That's amazing. That this movement exists to save people from the risky life of irresponsibility. And what are we being irresponsible with? Precisely. We're being irresponsible with our human birth. Labdvasa durlabam idam bhausam bhavante manusham artadam anityam pihadira turnam yatetana patet anumrityu yavan nishreyasaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat. That we've attained this human form of life after many, many births and deaths. And while we have this human form of life, it is our responsibility to attain perfect Krishna consciousness. That is why we've taken this human birth. To attain perfect Krishna consciousness, it is not meant to waste away on sense gratification, which is available for the hogs and dogs that eat stool. This is not the purpose of human life. Nunam pramattam kurute vikarma yat indriya priti apranoti. That the society is mad. Nunam pramatta, it is crazy. Pramatta means extremely mad. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. Why are they crazy? Because they perform vikarma. They're performing horrible activities, which is meant for their own destruction. Ugra karma. Bhavavanti ugra karmana chayaya jagato hitaha. Because they're performing such horrible activities, then, nunam pramada kriti, yat indriya, and why are they performing? Yat indriya priti, they love their senses so much. Yat indriya priti aprinoti. Nasadu mani, they do not accept the instructions of great saintly people. This entire society is mad, running after sense gratification, which doesn't make you happy anyway. At least if you're mad after something which makes you happy, that's fine. But you're mad after something which makes you unhappy. Everyone is attached to the relative truth. And as long as we're attached to the relative truth, we will be miserable. Why? Because the very nature of the relative truth is that it is relative. Which means that it is going to change according to circumstances. And what is the only thing which is constant in the material world? Change. So all relative truths will change, and if we're attached to our relative truth, for example, you may be attached to, wow, I'm going to I'm getting so much bliss from seeing, I'm having my kids and I have these kids and, I get so much bliss from seeing this cute little sock and this cute little shirt and all these things. But that happiness, that relative truth is going to go away after some time because the kids are going to grow up. And then that little baby sock and that little thing is not going to come all the way back until you're a grandparent. The relative truth goes away. It attaches so many relative truths. Oh, I'm a student. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. Oh, I'm that. And the biggest relative truth that we're attached to is our body. Our body itself is a relative truth. It's not going to stay there forever. Identification is not going to stay there forever. So any attachment which is not towards the absolute truth, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will go away, will give us frustration. Therefore, Krishna makes this arrangement, this great plan behind this arrangement to deliver the living entities from the clutches of birth and death. And how does Krishna do it? Krishna does it by personally coming down and performing his amazing nectarian pastimes. And Krishna also does it by sending his pure devotees. And the pure devotee, which we discuss every day of our life, is Srila Prabhupada. And we also discuss the predecessor acharyas, our own spiritual master also we discuss. And today specifically, we are thinking a lot about and we are meditating a lot about Narottama Das Thakur, who is such a great acharya. He's a great acharya. He's, the importance of Narottama Das Thakur is very relevant in our own ashram. Why? What is the reason? Anyone? Actually, you don't say. We were discussing this. Yes. Guru Puja, yes, that's there. But more specifically, especially we can derive a great amount of inspiration from Narottama. Huh? That's right. He's one of the first book distributors in our sampradaya. Then Narottama Das Thakur, he, along with Shyamananda Pandit and Srinivas Acharya, they were three Shikshak disciples of Jiva Goswami. And, they had all sat together and they had made a pact that now we have made it to Vrindavan. The life of Narottama Das Thakur, it's so amazing. And I'll get back to this. But they made a pact that, we will actually live in Vrindavan. And when we live in Vrindavan, we will be so happy. And here we are, three of us, dear God brothers, we're staying here and we're studying under Jiva Goswami. And can you imagine Jiva Goswami, he's, it's inconceivable, and there's one verse saying the only person who comes close to the erudition of Jiva Goswami is Bhakti Siddhanta. Raghurupa Sanatana Kirti Dharam Dharanitala Jivita Jiva Dharanitala Kirti Jiva Kavim Kavirajana Narottama Sakhya Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Padam. The only person that comes close is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But we see this, that, they were disciples of Jiva Goswami, Shiksha disciples, they were learning, this is it, we made it. We're in Vrindavan. This is it. What else? We're in Vrindavan, we're with the six Goswami, we're with Jiva Goswami, he's the head of the Vishwa Vaishnava Rajya Sabha. We have it all made. Why leave? Here it is. We can attain perfection. But then, Jiva Goswami orders them to each go to three different places, and he gives them a cart full of all the writings and teachings of the previous acharyas, of the Goswamis, and tells them, now it's your duty to go and distribute these books everywhere. Distribute this knowledge. So they were sent out on traveling Sankirtan. And unlike returning every week, they would only return to Vrindavan in their consciousness, and that way they never left Vrindavan. But Narottama Das Thakur, he is one of the first book distributors in our sampradaya to actually distribute books. So we derive great inspiration from Narottama Das Thakur, and Narottama Das Thakur has played a very pivotal role in our life in Krishna consciousness. So much. Why? Because Prabhupada himself, established the singing of Sri Guru Vandana every morning. Every morning we sing Sri Guru Vandana. What is that song? How does it start? Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Bandhon Mohi Savadana Mate. That Prabhupada established this, us singing the Sri Guru Vandana every morning. Why? Because the bhajans of Narottama Das Thakur are filled with Krishna Prema. They're filled with the deep meaning of the purport of life. And we should understand this. We should understand this very deeply. Narottama Das Thakur, he is a very dear devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his whole life, he lived to show us the example of what it means to feel separation, because that is the whole thing that Lord Chaitanya came to give us. Lord Chaitanya came to give us this Vipralamba Seva. this service of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead in separation. He came to give us this, Lord Chaitanya. And Narottama Das Thakur's whole life was a life of Vipalamba Seva. That was his life. This Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he was at Kanai Natshala. This is, nowadays I think modern Bihar. Kanai Natshala, he was there. And he was having this ecstatic kirtan, like this one. He was having an ecstatic kirtan with all his associates, and they were all, completely blissed out. And then when they came to the Padmavati river, Lord Chaitanya fainted and he was chanting, Narottam, 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 Narottam. And, everyone was wondering, who is this Narottam? Who is this Narottam? Who is this person that Lord Chaitanya is? And they went in the nearby village. They went here and there. They wanted to find out, who is this Narottam Das? Who is this? Who is this person? No one knew who Narottam was. And then, Nityananda Prabhu, he understands and he asks Lord Chaitanya, who is this Narottam? He's not here. He's not here. Then Lord Chaitanya tells him that this Narottam is someone who is very dear to me. He's my very, very dear devotee. And he's soon to appear. And he tells Lord Nityananda, my dear Nitai, when you were in Jagannath Puri and you were crying tears of ecstasy, thinking about Krishna and serving Krishna, at that point of time I captured your prema and I deposited it in the Padmavati river in order for Narottama Das Thakur to come and get this same prema from the Padma river. So Narottama Das Thakur instructed, so then Lord Chaitanya says that when Narottam comes, you should ask him to come and bathe in the river Padma. And when Lord Chaitanya goes to bathe in the river Padma, she is not able to handle the ecstasy of Lord Chaitanya, and she starts to swell up, and the waves start to come around, and all this. And then Lord Chaitanya says, I'm depositing this prema that I have. I'm depositing this prema that I have in this river Padma, and you have to give this prema that I got from Lord Nityananda for Narottama Das Thakur. You have to give this prema to Narottama Das Thakur when he comes. You have to give him this prema. And the river Padma asks Lord Chaitanya, how am I going to do this? How am I supposed to know who Narottama Das Thakur is? And then Lord Chaitanya tells her that when he steps into your water, also you will experience the same things you experienced when I entered. And that time you should give this prema. So when Narottama Das Thakur was at the age of 14, he got, Lord Nityananda appeared to him in a dream and told him, I want you to go and bathe in the river Padma, and when you go and bathe in that river, we have something very special for you. We have something very special for you. And Narottama Das Thakur, he, of course, his whole life, he's always contemplating as to how he will have the association of Lord Chaitanya, how he will have the association of Lord Nityananda, how he will have the association of all these, these devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His whole life he's contemplating that. So when he got this vision of Lord Nityananda, Narottama Das Thakur appeared in Keturi Gram, this place called Keturi. He appeared there, and Narottama Das Thakur, he sees this beautiful vision of Sri Nityananda Prabhu giving him this instruction, of giving him this instruction of going and bathing in the river Padma. He goes and then he goes and he bathes in the river Padma, and then when he comes out of this river, he's imbued with this Krishna prema, and his entire everything becomes golden, and he becomes golden like before. If I remember correctly from hearing that initially his color was Shama. He had like a blackish complexion like Krishna's. But then when he bathed in that river Padma, his complexion was golden. So Narottama Das Thakur is imbued with this prema, and he received this gift of prema from Nityananda Prabhu through Lord Chaitanya to the river Padma. And we may wonder, this sounds like a good story, but what can I do? How can I get the same thing that Narottama Das Thakur got? How can I get the same thing? So Narottama Das Thakur took his prema and put it in the form of his writings. He put it in the form of Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana. These are the two books. once a devotee went up to this Babaji, bona fide Babaji in Vrindavan, I think Jagadish Babaji. His name was Jagadish Das Babaji, not Gaurkishore Das Babaji, but Jagadish Das Babaji. He went to him, and this devotee was asking him, I really want to get prema. I really want to get prema. How can I get prema? How can I get love of God? And then this devotee told him that, it's very simple. Why don't you just come and live with me? You come and live with me, and you can become a Babaji, and we live together, and you'll get prema. What's the difficulty? And he said, no, that's not possible for me. Like, yours, it's easy for you because you're a Babaji, but I'm not a Babaji, and it's no way I can do it. And he says, okay, do you have 2 annas? Anna is what, 4 annas make 1 paisa? 12 annas make a paisa. 16 annas make 1 paisa.
16 annas make a rupee.
No, I thought annas is lesser than paisa, right?
Yeah.
So how many annas make a paisa? I can look it up, I guess. You don't know, Charandeep? Krishna Keshav Prabhu would tell us if he was here. 6.25 anna
is equivalent to 6.25 paisa, which means that an anna is greater than.
An anna is greater than a paisa.
16 annas make, part of my also 16 annas make.
Okay. So 16 annas.
Anna is equal to 1 rupee.
So 16 annas make 1 rupee.
1 anna consists of almost 6 paisa.
Okay. So 1 anna consists of 6 paise, and 16 of these annas make 1 rupee. And that's a small amount, 1 rupee, and then 16 annas, that's especially compared to American dollars, right? $1 is like 82 rupees or something now, So it's like very less. So this Babaji told this devotee that if you want to get prema, you have to spend 2 annas. And then, you're saying, what do you guys, yes, you have to go to the marketplace and you have to find 2 books. What are these books? Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana. You study them and you live by them, and you will definitely attain prema. The same prema that Narottama Das Thakur got from Lord Nityananda through from Lord Chaitanya via Nityananda via the Padma River. That same prema you can also attain by doing this. So Narottama Das Thakur's bhajans are so amazing, that just by studying them and relishing them and understanding them and meditating upon them and living by these bhajans, a person can attain Krishna prema. It is possible. It is very much possible. And we can say the same things about Srila Prabhupada's books. You can attain prema by buying these books and reading these books and living by these books. You can attain the highest level of love of God by doing this. So Narottama Das Thakur has benedicted the world. He has benedicted this world by giving us these great bhajans, and the service of Narottama Das Thakur is so important. It cannot even be. We cannot even understand how important the service is. He was I'll probably have to wrap this up quicker, so I'll just talk about a few more things. I'm unable to get into some of the topics that I'd like to get into, but. Narottama Das Thakur performed this very important service of ironing out and establishing Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya. This is one of the most important services that Narottama Das Thakur performed, of course, besides writing his books and having this Manoharshai style kirtan. He established, he arranged that after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya, there was a lot of confusion amongst Gaudiya Vaishnavas as to what exactly the proper Siddhanta and all of this was. So he had this festival called Keturigram Mahotsaha, where he had invited all the different Vaishnavas from all different places. He had invited them in order to come and iron out, and as a head of the meeting, he kept Janava Mata, who is the wife of Lord Nityananda, who is basically Lakshmi Devi herself. And some of our dear friends like to quote Janava Mata a lot, but they're not on the platform of Janava Mata. As far as we know, if they're Lakshmi Devi, they can reveal themselves to us, and we'll do Jayam Vishnupat to them. But Janava Mata was a presiding person over this meeting in Keturi Gram. And, by the arrangement of Narottama Das Thakur, all these devotees came and he organized this thing. And they ironed out all the differences, and she was able, she helped establish the proper Siddhanta, the proper conclusion of the scriptures, proper Bhakti Siddhanta. She established this. And by doing so, because of that, our parampara is still intact. And we have a proper understanding of what our Siddhanta is. Otherwise, there'll be so much confusion, like it's going on already. Recently we were informed of this Mahotsaha group of devotees who claim to be under Srila Prabhupada, who may even have a banner of one of Prabhupada's temples, but it's completely against everything which Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, everything which he had preached about, that they should not do, they're doing like that. They're doing all these things. Just straight up Sahajyavad, straight up nonsense. It's going on. And it's going on right now. But how would we know what is right and what is wrong if we didn't have Prabhupada's books? These rascals go up to the level saying that, yes, we should read Prabhupada, we should not only meditate on Prabhupada's books, because in Prabhupada's books also, he writes that you should read the literatures of the previous acharyas and the Goswamis. And they give the example that if someone is pointing at the moon, should you look at the finger or should you look at the moon? And then they say that, Prabhupada is pointing at the moon, so basically therefore you should look at the moon and should not really care about Prabhupada's finger, Prabhupada, what he's saying. You should not care about that. We will chop off the heads of such rascals, actually. Figuratively, philosophically, not literally, but philosophically. Because it's all nonsense. And then these kind of offensive mentalities that, yes, you are distributing books, but ultimately you have to transcend this book distribution. You have to transcend this book distribution and just chant and do all these things. You transcend this, then, if you transcend it, then you will definitely, the minute you stop actually being such a fanatic about book distribution, the minute you stop being such a fanatic about preaching, the minute you stop being fanatical about what is right and what is wrong, and the minute you just stop doing that and you just chant and you just do this, that's when you become advanced. Until the point that you're fanatical about book distribution, until the point that you're fanatical fanatical in a good sense, until that you're fixed up, that you're really fired up about distributing Prabhupada's books, until the point that you're fired up about even dancing in kirtan, even that is considered this guy is so much in the mode of passion. Until you're fanatical about dancing in kirtan, as long as you're too fired up about dancing in kirtan, fired up about distributing books, fired about preaching Krishna consciousness and establishing the proper siddha. Until you're like this, you're a lower devotee. Karma Mishra Bhakti at best. But when you become really advanced is when you when you give all this up, don't care about this book distribution and all these things, and you just sit and chant and you just meditate upon all these things and meditate upon the higher levels. Not really caring so much. Prabhupada's books are there, but you see out of 5 million pages of sentences that Prabhupada has written, let me find one sentence where he says that we should read the purpose of the books of the previous acharyas, and throw all the other 4,999,000 sentences of Srila Prabhupada in the garbage, and then just do this. Because after all, he pointed at the moon. Look at the moon. Why do you care about the finger pointing at the moon? So if the books of Srila Prabhupada were not there, if Narottama Das Thakur did not organize that meeting, would we know what is right and what is wrong? We would not know. So the importance of Narottama Das Thakur cannot be undermined. Narottama Das Thakur actually helped us understand how there is no higher mantra than the lotus feet of the Guru. And maybe some other time I can talk about that in another session. But, because we're running out of time, I just wanted to read one really amazing thing. Really, really amazing thing. And I'll take over the screen or whatever. Okay. And we like to read this. I think most of you have seen this before. But we can see it again and again and again and again. and especially meditate upon the last line of this article. So this is called Scores from the First Book Disappearance. Written on palm leaves is a letter from Narottama Das Thakur to Srila Jiva Goswami, contains the annual book distribution scores for the year ending on Gaura Purnima on Shaka 1501, AD 1579. Srinivas Acharya, and don't think, oh, these are just numbers, what do I care? No, we do this every morning. We read out our books, goes to the deities every morning. So we should read this. Srinivas Acharya, Bhagavatam. How many Bhagavatam says that Srinivas Acharya distribute? With Vaishnava Toshani, 6. Jnanananda's songs, 23. Govinda Das's songs, 19. Narottama Das's Pratana, 11. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 1. Chaitanya Bhagavat, 22 Chaitanya Bhagavat sets. That's amazing. Lochandas Chaitanya Mangal, 6 sets. Hari Bhakti Vilas, 1. Murari Gupta's Kadacha, that's Murari Gupta's personal diary, 1. Narottama Das Thakur distributed 2 Bhagavatam sets, 21 Jnanananda songs, 56 Pratanas, 45 Chaitanya Bhagavat sets. He was on fire. Fired up. 5 Chaitanya Chandramrita sets, and 34 of Vasughosh's Gauranga Padavalis. Shyamananda Prabhu, 4 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, Jnanananda's songs, 10, Govinda Das's songs, 11, 34 other songbooks, 16 Narottama Das's Pratana, 5 Nectar of Devotions, 1 Ujjvala Nilamani, 25 Chaitanya Bhagavatam sets, Chaitanya Bhagavat says, 15 Chaitanya Chandramrita sets, and 14 Vasughosh's Gauranga Padavalis.
They wrote these themselves, right? Also?
Oh, yeah, so these were scribed. They didn't have, so they actually, not only you had to distribute the books, but you got to get them scribed. Imagine, Ali, that could have been your service, instead of sitting on the computer. You and Charandeep will have like a whole, and have you all scribe it. That's like your service. And by the time, in 15 years, you'll memorize the whole Bhagavatam like that. Hey. Charandeep would do it like 2 years, right? Writing down the whole Bhagavatam. So many times, right? By hand. Can you imagine? They were fired. How? Chandan should not do it. Chandan should distribute it. He should not write. But can you imagine how fired up you have to be if you have to have the books like scribed and then go and distribute them? We are not nearly as fired up. Not even. What? My God, not even. Imagine that's what it meant to be a book distributor. How many of us would sign up for that? Narottama Das Thakur concludes his letter with the following emotional comment. What does he say? Okay. Until we are able to develop another type of technology to print books, due to the difficulty involved in creating books by hand, which is being neglected, I guess they had problems with, at that time, what they called their own BBT. Most of our book distribution program will be postponed. We are sure that one day some magnanimous person will come and develop the movement of ecstatic love of Lord Chaitanya by doing what? By doing Prakriti Sahajavad, or by transcending book distribution? No. What will they do? By distributing books all over the world. Until then, what will we, persons who are poor and bereft and abominable, do? Just see the humility. That humility should break our hearts. My heart is made of stone. But what will we do? And then, okay, look, so I'm having a problem with my eyes, and I need y'all's help to read this, okay? So let's read it. I'll try to read it, but we can all read it together. What is the I can't hear y'all. What is the benefit of discussing the stories of the Lord's incarnations, worshipping the Lord's deities, giving musical recitations of the Lord's pastimes, chanting the holy names on beads, etc. When what? When we have such I didn't hear that. What? I didn't hear you. That's right. When we have such small scores. What is the use of your freaking bogus temple if you can't distribute Prabhupada's books? To hell with that temple, to hell with your philosophy, to hell with you. We don't care. So we should understand that this is the mood of Narottama Das Thakur. Let's go and smack all the Sahajas with this quote and distribute books on their heads, This is nonsense. So we should make this book distribution is our main goal of life. And with the marathon coming up, Narottama Das Thakur appears right before the marathon to remind us about the real goal of life, which is to distribute books. Not to have these beautiful Hare Krishna kirtans, no. But to actually, and not to like do reggae kirtan and reggae music in the temple room, and not all that, but to distribute Prabhupada's books. That is the purpose of this. Nothing more, nothing less. Because by doing this, ye prasade pure sarva ash. Shri Guru Charane Rati, Aise Uttama Gati, Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Ash. Everything desirable will be granted to us. So I'll end the class here. If there's any questions or comments, we can take them. Yes? Prabhuji? You have anything? Okay, yes, Chandan, Acharya Prabhu.
Yes,
Or Acharya Prabhu.
one comment from Ramar's prediction. Yes, asked me this question, so I found the call.
I mean, you can tell me that later in regards to this.
No, I was in regards to
I mean, in regards to the class, if it's...
okay, so, because
Okay, go on.
thing is very simple.
Okay.
Because Mars prediction is questioning.
Mm.
Says that Mars prediction was naturally inclined Lord Krishna from his very childhood. He might have been limited either of the above mentioned activities, and all of them established his great devotion from his very childhood, a symptom of a Mahabhagavata. Such a Mahabhagavatas are called Nitya Siddhas, with souls liberated from birth. So that was
Great, awesome. Thank you for the quote. Yeah.
you mentioned like, and that temple that's being mentioned is like specifically that was mentioned that devotee was finding preaching too hard and people weren't taking it up.
Yeah, so then
what's the use of
what's the
devotees
use?
engage in bhajan?
Yeah.
And but then
Tava Harinam Kaivala Kaitaba. Your holy name is simply cheating.
it's like what kind of nonsense is this? Prabhupada went through so much. People make it seem like, when devotees talk about it, it's like, yeah, everyone became Krishna conscious when Prabhupada came, and how much struggle he went through. It's just like, and it's really difficult. People don't want to accept that side. It's like, it's all blissful. As long as you stay in the temple and chant your own Hare Krishna, sure, it can be blissful, but like you go out and you preach and you do what Prabhupada did, and it's like, that's where the real toughness is, that's where the mercy is. But nobody wants to do that. And when they try, and they it's hard.
Yeah.
You get crushed.
Yeah.
It's like, it's tough.
The school of hard knocks.
Distributing books, or whether it's making devotees, or whatever you're doing in terms of preaching, it's all difficult.
Yeah.
It's all difficult work. And so it's just like you were mentioning, this Sahajavad is, everything is wonderful.
Yeah.
But we accept difficulties.
Yeah, we have to accept difficulty because that's our duty. If we do not accept difficulty, then what's the use? Is this what Narottama Das Thakur came to give? And there's all this imagination that, he knows rasa very well, he knows this very well, he knows that very, but it's all bogus. It's all completely not. They make videos about Radha and Krishna's pastime, and this person changes the position of the deities every day. Can you imagine that the deities are in a particular position, but according to the mood and the rasa that he's seeing, sometimes, Krishna is looking at Radha like this from this point, and they take Radharani and move. Prabhupada didn't do this. Are you out of your freaking mind? Yes, that exact word that you're going to say is in that. Yes. Prabhupada didn't do any of this stuff. Where is all this coming from? Your imagination, your hallucinations. And then to make it worse, they have videos, and they have videos of some Karmi song. Like, let's just say, like, what's a famous Karmi love song? Okay, I guess. Okay, whatever. All right. So imagine you have a Taylor Swift song, and you have and the music video is Radha and Krishna looking at each other. Do you think that that's pleasing to our acharyas? No, they didn't. They didn't compose it. He literally, some karmi singing. Some karmi was singing. Yeah, he told this some karmi singing, it's all karmis, and then they just put Radha and Krishna together, It's nonsense, complete nonsense. Shocking, but anyway, should I be shocked? Anyway, maybe I should not be shocked. Unfortunately, I don't have to be shocked.
The song is actually meant for Krishna.
Exactly. It's actually meant for Krishna, so, you can do it like this. And it just goes on and downwards. And this is happening while Prabhupada disciples are still on the planet. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I don't know what it's saying. Yes, Matsya Prabhu.
Prabhu, do you remember where you heard this thing about like Narottama Das Thakur having a dark complexion and then changing?
Yeah, I heard it in a lecture, and it wasn't a it was a bona fide speaker. I just have to find the exact thing.
Yeah, because I remember when you said I looked at it for like a while, I couldn't find anything.
Uh-huh.
If you could like.
Yeah, it's in in one of the biographies. I think maybe we can look at Narottama Vilas or something. But that's what I had heard. I don't have the exact quote right off the top of my head. Anything else? Okay, Mataji's? Okay, anything online? Online? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha.